Yo, welcome back to the Jeffrey YouTube channel. Today I'm going at it alone. Unless someone decides to join me with the next, like, I don't know, however long it takes to record this, which it shouldn't take that long this week. There's some interesting games this week. Not sure exactly how to feel about it, but as far as like the games themselves go, there were some interesting teams brought. Um, this Nito team especially, I thought was quite interesting. And yeah, there's some, I don't know, there's some interesting games. It was very odd. We're gonna get the Frixel Anders came out of the way first. I mean, both of these players are like probably the two weakest in the pool. Anders, I mean, obviously just hasn't really ever played the tier before, and then Frixel has just been crashing out the whole tour. I think he's XO. I think he's 04 now. So pretty. I don't know if this is. I wouldn't necessarily call this standard like guard offense, but this is like some interesting like guard mid tier stuff with Chen Pao Marshadow, which I think is kind of cool. Um, I believe it's AV POW on this team, as we'll see later on when it clicks to Ruination, which I think is kind of cool. I really like AV POW on this. I think it gives like the team like a really interesting dimension. I'm not sure how I feel about no flutter resist, but between like Marsh POW or AV POW, like Ensign, uh, and even like Terra Wellspring, it's like probably fine. It just seems a little like dicey. I don't know if it's TR guard or if it's CM. It's probably it could be either on this. To be honest, it's hard to say. I think you want the extra speed control from TR, but it's like certainly possible. This is a Sea Life team. I know he tested it against me with it earlier this week. It's like Nasty Plot Torn. I think Psychic Seed Nasty Plot actually. And like Mega Venu. And I'm not like sure I'm a huge fan of it. It's just an odd team. I mean, it's just a Sea Life team at the end of the day. And I think Mega Venusaur is kind of shit regardless of that. So yeah, we see Chen Pao Ogrepon lead from Anders into Torn Lele. Immediately the Chen Pao, I don't know. I actually don't know. It depends a lot on if this Lele is Specs or if it's Scarf, or like, and if it's actually able to like threaten the Chen Pao here. The Ogrepon can maybe Terra immediately as well. If it's Z Torn, which Anders has to respect on preview, and I'm assuming has been told like Torns are Z in this tier. It could also like I don't know. It's just a weird lead for Anders, I think. Okay, we see an instant swap, which yeah makes sense. Takes whatever from the Finny or the Lele. Terra immediately, yeah, it makes sense. Just getting like immediate damage down, chipping killing the Lele, which yeah, okay. I'm not sure if that crit mattered. It probably does if it's bulky, but I feel like no bulk Lele probably dies to that, but it's hard to say. Especially with Terra. With Terra, I feel like that's probably a kill, but I don't know. Even if that wasn't a kill, I think getting the Venu in here is probably worse for Anders anyway, so if there was a kill, it's probably kind of unlucky for Enders. Okay. Oh, and I just realized it is not, in fact, what's it called? Or Psychic Seed, like I said earlier. But yeah, okay, so we see a Mega, we see Spiky Shield, Leech Seed. And Frixel does this a lot throughout this game. He basically just spends, like, this entire game, um, clicking Leech Seed on boards when I think he should probably be attacking with his Venusaur and making more immediate progress. Like, yeah, so now the Chunkow comes in for free. We get a Leech Seed off, and we get a Ruination. Yeah, so the POW is now revealed to be a Self-Vest. It gets a Ruination off on the Venusaur, which is pretty big, because now the Venusaur is actually, like, liable to be, hit by a lot of mods on Ninja's team. And the Politoed just starts clicking Hypnosis, because, yeah, I mean, why not, right? So yeah, we get a Sleeping Ogrepon. The Leech Seed recovery starts racking up, and the next few turns are kind of just whatever. I mean, yeah, Anders misses a bunch of Leech Seeds, and eventually the Ogrepon wakes up. I think the Ogrepon wakes up this coming turn, kills the Poly, Anders misses just a bunch of Ruinations that would put him very far ahead, or that would make a lot of progress forward into the Venusaur, especially because the Venusaur is not attacking at all, really. It finally attacks, and it doesn't get the kill on the Ogrepon. It clicking Sludge Bomb there, because it's probably just Sludge Bomb Earth Power Protect. Probably no Grass move then. Which means it can't really hit the Lando Eye. Yeah. All right, we get Marshadow in. Marshadow Chien-Pao just kind of like fucks whatever the Bask would like to do. So the Bask is kind of just useless here. Okay, we see a Shadow Sneak. I'm not sure if he needed to do that. Did Sphyrexel still have Terra? Yeah, it's like fine. I guess like doubling it is fine then. Did we Sucker as well? That's a fairly heads up ruination. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that flick. I guess you probably kill unless it Terras, which if like Terra waters, then you're losing a Mon, but I don't know if it dies to Wave Crash Recoil if it hits the Marshadow. I don't know. The Giantsy coming in and taking a lot is good, and the Venu like getting chipped out is also quite good. And of course, Frixel just clicks the Leech Seed, and the Venu's kind of just sitting on the board and being passive. It's not even like really defensively that great into the rest of the team. It's kind of just sitting there and being passive and taking Leech Seeds or whatever, and it's just not really doing a whole lot. Yes, then the Giantsy, yeah, we just get a double text to Leech Seed stall or whatever, and it's just, I don't know. Yeah, kind of a nothing burger turn. And then he's almost at full, and this is yet another ruination. So now oh wow, and that ruination like would have killed the Venusaur as well, which means it's quite important actually. Yeah, that's quite bad. And then yeah, we get Room up. Yeah, that's really unfortunate actually, because instead of removing the Venu like that turn, and now the Diancie gets Trick Room up for free, and like yeah. The AV PAL like should have put in like so much more work than it did this game, but because of the ruination accuracy, it just like didn't get the chance to. Okay, we double. Yeah, we double priority move, and the Venu goes down. Oh, that's a pretty lucky. That's actually a fairly lucky dodge on the Marshadow because it should live Leech Seed Recovery, which means you can swap it out this turn into like Instant or something like that. And okay, well, I don't think we should have done that. I think we should have saved it and back for like the Diancie later in the game, or like the Bask later in the game. But I don't know. I think walking Aqua Jet there is also kind of bad from Frixel because it just doesn't really make enough progress into the Landers. Yeah. And then the instant comes in, and we see the first ever time that the offensive Dark Sea instant is a good click. Actually, I don't even know if it was a good. I think it's fine if you like. I don't know. Were you supposed to like swap in Diancie there? As like, I feel like if you're Frixel, you're supposed to swap in Diancie there because like, if you're getting a plot up on the Torn can kind of just win, especially +2 defense. So like, you really just want to not. Well, I just don't see why you wouldn't like preserve your Bass because your Bass kind of just wins in back, or reverses everything in back. If you don't let it like take a black hole eclipse. Yeah, I don't think we should have. I think we should have sacked our Diancie at the very least, and like also we don't want to be locked into Aqua Jet, right? Obviously, I think we go Diancie on the side. And also, like, I don't think there's ever a reason for you to really like Earth Power on this turn, like unless you're calling the Diancie swatch, so which I think is just like not. I'm not sure if I think that's a very. I don't think it's a very good play. So yeah, I don't know. I just like Frixel definitely like could have won this game still, and especially because of how like far behind all of the ruination misses got Anders. I think he also should have like at some point he should have clicked some things other than ruination as well, because like I don't know, like I think, but I also think that the fact that like the Chien-Pao was able to just sit on the board and click ruination as much as it did is like probably is like definitely an issue. That actually is kind of interesting. Like the idea of like ruination POW. I wonder if you can use that with like I think the idea of like that plus like Mega Kang sounds kind of interesting because you have like ruination and icy wind plus like Estos, which sounds really broken. But I think the problem is just that I mean, obviously you have a lot of like off defensive overlap between the two. But I think that with like Careful Kang could be kind of interesting because that gives you like more lines in Disart or whatever. And yeah, that's kind of neat. I think that might be something to explore as well, like Ruination POW, maybe even AV Ruination POW plus like Careful Kang or something like that, or Imbish Kang maybe. It's an interesting idea. You do like probably slower than max speed, so you don't have to care as much. But you could also do max speed too. I feel like you would want to do max speed, so you get like almost everything. Like that's pretty slow. But that's like another idea. But yeah, we get the dancing in. I don't get that protect at all. Actually, we're +2 defense. So the instant can't really hit you, and the Landorus has to hit the Diancie this turn. So we should have just like clicked an attack. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see really what progress that cloaking protector makes us. I guess now we get like free. We get now. I'm laughing. We get free blueprints now. We just get free blueprints. And because of the miss, I think the miss loses him the game because yeah, it just does. Because like later and the next turn it kills. Blueprint does, or the turn after because it protects for leftovers this turn. Yeah, the turn after Blueprint just kills. So that probably matters. I don't know if Guard Hyper Voice would have killed from that range, but it would have made Bleakwind single target, which, okay, based on that damage, it shouldn't have made it. It shouldn't have made it like a kill. If it's not a kill, Hyper Voice probably does like about 40 to Tornadus. Yeah, it probably does like, depends on the bulk and single target as well. It's like single target Pixelate Hyper Voice probably picks up from that range, but it's hard to say. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is just a weird game between like two of the more two of the more interesting players in the pool. I'll say like Frixel's using a Sea Life team, Anders is using an Eragon team, and it's just like I don't know. These are just it's just a clicks are being made. That's the best way I can describe it. Yeah, so we're gonna go to the second game, which is Null versus Z. This is kind of an interesting game. I mean, Z in Nat decks in general is just a bit of an odd choice. I'm not sure why he's playing it. But it's obviously it's cool to see better players in Nat decks as well. I'm not sure if he's actually going to be slotting, or if they're actually going to be slotting in next week. I hope they are because I would like to play them. That would be fun. I'd like to play better players. I'd like to play good players. That'd be fun. But yeah, this has been an interesting team. I don't think I've seen it. I don't remember having seen this exact six before. I think Kunal and Shister were saying that they had, but I don't. I'm not aware of it. I think it's just like really reminiscent of a bunch of other teams that have been used. I don't remember specifically Double Steel on this. I think like Double Steel and Ogrepon are like kind of new to like Flutter King structures, but it's interesting. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's like a fine team. I mean, it's like reasonable enough. It's not a bad bring. Into some it's basically just like standard Incident Moon Zard, but with a Diancie. Which is kind of neat. It's revealed to be weakness policy Diancie, which I think is kind of interesting. Oh, it's pretty similar to this. Okay. It's probably similar to this. Good comms. Yeah. I remembered this because me and Kunal built this for NDPL, but it's like yeah, because I remembered the Chiyu. I remembered it being like that, but like with Chiyu. But yeah, it's interesting. I just don't remember having like ever seen the exact six with like the Ogrepon before. But yeah, and then the Life Orb if it's like since it is Life Orb Raging Bolt here, like Life Orb Raging Bolt. If you actually look at this team, like it can unironically kill everything on the team. If it's like Terra Dragon Selly or whatever, it does like it can help, like it can be good. But otherwise, like I just don't really see how Z is like supposed to beat the Terra Electric Bolt long term. Especially if you can like get a Mungus Pollen Puff next to it and just start healing it up in Trick Room. It's just quite difficult for Z to take care of. So unfortunately, this game is kind of just over on turn one because we see, Kang torn into Zard bolts, and the worst possible thing happens for Null on this turn. Basically, I'm just gonna let it play out. Protect the bolts, and we lose our Charizard to Rock Tomb King. Yeah, I don't know. I just on this board on the on Kangaskhan Tornadus, we have a Life Orb Terra Electric. I assume it's Terra Electric. It should be Terra Electric. If it isn't, that's Log Ice's fault. I'm blaming Log Ice. But yeah, if it's a Life Orb Terra Electric Bolt into Tornadus Kangaskhan, I don't understand why we didn't just Terra Electric immediately and Thunderbolt the Kang. Like the worst thing that happens is we eat an S toss or we eat a fake out, which neither of which are like particularly impactful into Raging Bolts realistically, because like all of the things that are gonna hit like Raging Bolts is like kind of hard for this team to remove outside of the Flutter main. So it's just like the Raging Bolt's health is not super impactful, so there's no real reason why we shouldn't just start attacking with it here. And obviously the Tornadus doesn't really do anything here. And committing Terra to Raging Bolt when the matchup is this crazy for it is just not like it's not a big deal. Like I don't think it's like I don't think you like would really feel the downside of like using Terra immediately because I don't necessarily even know like what you'd want to Terra more in this matchup, right? Like if you're a Mungus, your Mungus Terra is like what, like fire, probably, like probably just fire, right? And like if it's fire, I mean, yeah, you can get in front of the Heatran or whatever, but that makes you more weak to the Wellspring long term. You know, the Diancie could definitely Terra, but there's an entire Kangaskhan. You know, I just don't see what reason we didn't have to just like Terra Electric Raging, like Terra Electric Thunderbolt the Kang because I think that unless it's like careful, I think that drops. I'm like almost certain it drops. Um, and even if it doesn't, it's like still absolutely in basically range of anything. Like it's gonna do like too much to the Kang, and the Kang being chipped just makes it like really. It just basically opens up the Diancie entirely because now the Diancie can come in under Trick Room. It can click Diamond Storm. The Kang is so chipped that it won't be able to really S toss into it. And it just makes the Raging Bolt as well like so much harder to actually chip, especially if you know a Fake Out or a Rock Tomb goes into the Zard. Right. I think like Protect Zard, Terra Electric, Thunderbolts, Kang is like reasonable. I think you can also maybe like consider not protecting Zard here. Or like swapping Zard maybe. But I think like Protect Zard, like Terra Electric, Thunderbolt, Kang is probably just the best play. Because I would not assume that any Kang really on this team would have Protect. I don't know. I don't really respect Protect Kang in the Big 26. So it's just like I don't know. I think just Null just got tier checked, to be honest. Like he just didn't know how you're supposed to use Life Orb Raging Bolt in this tier. Um, and he didn't know that Kangaskhan carries Rock Tomb. So he just got really he just got owned on turn one and lost the game basically immediately. And even though the game this turn one was really bad for him, it's like still not entirely over just because of how threatening the Raging Bolt is long term. Like, even if you look, this board is like really bad for the Raging Bolts, mind you. Like this is a pretty horrible board for the Raging Bolt, but we still get Instant here, so we can fake out the Kang, and we can like T-Bolts, remove the Flutter, right? We still have like a lot of pretty solid lines that actually allow us to, you know, take advantage of the Raging Bolt while it still has Sun, while it's still able to basically be unwellable. I don't like going in Diancie here as well at all either. Like going in Diancie here is just like now we're just gonna get fucked by the Kang and the Flutter. And if it's like, you know, if it could be booster Flutter, it could be taunt Flutter, you know, and then if it's taunt Flutter, then the Diancie is making no progress at all. I think we need to go into just click fake out Terra Electric T-Bolt and just We can remove the Flutter maybe, remove the Kang. I think removing the Kang is marginally worse at this point, maybe. I don't know. I think the Flutter is the immediate, like, I don't know. These are both probably about immediately as threatening to the Raging Bolt. And as we see this turn with the Gleam, I feel like 38 is just like so little. From I don't know if it's I don't. So my thought is that that I asked all guys. This is definitely like this is a bulky Raging Bolt, right? But I also think this is probably not a Specs Flutter, or it felt really weak to me for a Specs Flutter. But I also don't know what it could be. I mean, it could just be Booster, which wouldn't surprise me on this team at all, really. But I think it being like 38 just feels like Oh no, it's not. It's Terra says Sash, but it can't be Sash because it gets O-code by Terra Electric Thunderbolt here. Yeah, because it just dies, right? So it's not Sash. But I also just like our win con is at 6%. Our win con dies to Life Orb now, right? Like this is just we get Trick Room up, yeah, but I don't know. I just don't like. Yeah, we get Trick Room up, but now they get Heatran in. Now you know they get. Okay. This is actually still hard to navigate because the Bolt is still going to take one, right? The Bolt is still going to take one, but you have Wellspring, right? So you can just trade your Wellspring for the Bolt, and then trade down the Diancie with Kang. Yeah, I'm not sure if the Diancie is actually in what's it called. I'm not sure if the Diancie is actually in Seismic Toss range, but okay. Protect. I don't hate that protect on the bolts, to be honest. Like, yeah, like preserving it for a turn isn't bad. Um, Yeah, but now Null just gets his Pollen Puff redirected, and if it to be fair, I mean if he had gotten the Pollen Puff out in a Bolt, I think he actually could win this pretty easily. But now yeah, we just click T bolts, we die, and then we get our Amoonguss murdered by Eruption. So yeah, I think from this board it's just entirely over because we have double steal into Flutter Diancie. And yeah, it's just not really doable, not without Terra. Yeah, this is just kind of a tragic game because Null just, I mean, yeah, I don't, there wasn't really a whole lot for Null to do. I mean, he just got tier checked, and that's just kind of what happened. I don't know. There's not really a whole lot to say about it, right? Like, it's tragic because I think Null could have like pretty easily won this as well. Because like, yeah, I mean, like, especially with Z parting shot on the instant, right? Like, Z parting shot on the instance, you can basically just give your raging bolt like a whole other lease on life. But yeah, if we just like went from the beginning and just I'm just gonna skip through the rest of this game. There's nothing interesting that goes on here. Yeah, if we just started going on, if we just started like attacking immediately with a raging bolt, we could have definitely won this game like pretty easily. Even if we still lost our Charizard on turn one, like raging bolt just like puts in so much work here, that like it would be like almost a worthwhile trade. But yeah, and then the Sally is also defense booster, so it's probably yeah. So it is probably similar enough to this, where it was like although this was like special defense because it was iron defense, right? But you know, some bulky like probably lefty Sally. I don't know if it revealed it. I don't know if it revealed it. It seems like it did not. Yeah, it did not reveal it, but it's probably like some kind of lefty Sally. There's no terrain, so it can't be like seed, and it's obviously not Beater Beam. So, but yeah, this is just kind of an unfortunate game. I'm not like a huge fan of Z's team, and like Luckeyes, like and Noel definitely got the matchup right. This is like actually like a really hard matchup, for Z if the Life Orb Raging Bolt is played correctly, but it was not. So yeah, that is the lessons from this week. Chat are do not let your megas go down for no reason. And speaking of do not let your megas go down for no reason, um, I guess I'm gonna segue into my own game. Normally I save my own game for last, but I got fucking like I played my game really badly this week and I lost. And so we're gonna do an autopsy of my game, and we're gonna see why I lost. But yeah, the latest like the load. This load is really interesting. I don't know if it was good. I think it might have been kind of bad, but it definitely pulled the matchup it was supposed to pull. This is clear Mila Chen Pao into double intimidate. So like, this is like kind of supposed to fish some like Voltixy, balancy stuff. I don't know. It's just like it was kind of a vibe load. I built this like at the beginning of the tour, and I just wanted to like I was kind of interested. I wanted to like load some kind of sun into him, just because that just seemed like the most like consistent thing to outlook with. I almost loaded Instant and Moon Sun into him, which would have gotten like absolutely fried by this. I think. It would have been okay. It was just like I think I actually I could have won. It just would have been a hard matchup. I think. But yeah, we immediately get the Marsh out of 50-50. And honestly, I kind of just this turn one, I just kind of set my balls on the table and decided that I was just gonna play into the Marsh speed tie game because I'd rather do it at the beginning of the game and like give myself room to play around it later than not. So I just attacked Zera, and yeah, I think he definitely could have gone instant and sneaked as well, Terry. Yeah, it's hard to say because I don't know why he didn't just instant and sneak. Yeah, it's just weird because like I also could have had something like yeah because I did calc in the game, and -1 sort of ruin Shadow Sneak doesn't kill his Marsh, which like I could have committed Terra turn one, but I just didn't really want to do that. Which I mean, honestly, I think it might have been better if I committed Terra turn one. But if you commit to Terra turn one and then just like lose it all immediately, it's just like yeah. Which I don't. So I don't even blame him for like going instant because he goes instant on the Marsh, um, and he just gets chipped on his Zera. Oh yeah, and he's Electro Web Zera as well. So I don't understand why he didn't just like protect and like E-webs as well. I think that would have been quite reasonable from him. I think he had a lot more. I think he had a lot. Yeah, Yeah, dude, there's yeah. This fucking guy who said like e-webs in the chat. I I had to. I literally set mod chat on because I was just like, what are we doing, bro? Like can we stop ghosting him, bro? I was so confused. Like it was just like, what are we doing? Why why are we like telling this guy what to do? But yeah, dude, I don't know. And well, okay. So the good thing here is that I actually got like I think I need to get into a really good position after this board, right? Because my POW is still like my POW doesn't get the drop because of the clam. My march is slower, but it's not slow enough to like for it to super matter. So I just get a really free this turn. It's like a roll like really really heavily in my favor against like somewhat defensive instant to kill. With Sword of Ruin at -1. So I just like disrespected and I just clicked Sucker CC and I got the turn completely right. I am like this is like a super super very good like hard for me to win game. The only way I lose this is if the Mence or the Selly or the Marsh gets out of control. And I have tools for all of those, right? Right? Right. I have tools for all of this, right? So yeah, I get into this board. And so now that I've just taken two of his mons, he gets that Finny in for free, and this is Specs Terra Fairy Finny. So this is like kind of an awkward board for me because the Selly and the Finny are quite threatening. I should have clocked immediately what the Selly was because the Selly wasn't Seed, and on this team it kind of has to be Meteor Beam. So when I swapped in Raging Bolt and Charizard and got my Mega immediately deleted by Meteor Beam, it was just like yeah okay. Um, And the tragic part is that like if I had just like protected or if I had just like sacked my marsh or whatever, then like I would have been fine because then I get the Zard in and I can just start clicking buttons with Zard bolts. And Zard bolt just like has a very very good time, especially that I because I haven't committed Terra yet, so I can just Terra Electric the bolt and just start taking names into the Sally and the Finny, and like Tailwind and stuff. And so like it was just like I just got really greedy swapping in Zard, and I got like super punished for it by just losing it to Meteor Beam immediately, and then I'm in a really bad spot because of how threatening the Selly is into me. And I also think I probably should have gone Marsh Shadow here, so I can actually like threaten the Selly, commit Terror to Marsh Shadow because it shouldn't die to Specs Finny. But yeah, it was just like a really weird. It was just a bad board state for me, and I just like sacked my Mega and then I like didn't trade down very well into the rest of the team. Yeah, like I got 33% on the Finny. That's so impactful. And even here, I get a Terra to like try and kill the Selly, see if like maybe like it possibly kills. And I go and I get a flinch even on the Finny, which like puts me like somewhat back in the game. Like it's maybe doable still. And because now I can get in now I can get in my own Finny, or I can get in my bolts again, and I actually can like, and I can just like, take care of the rest of his mons, right? But I just don't. I don't. I missed target. I clicked Ivy Cudgel into the Selly, and his Finny was faster, so his Finny gets off one more attack and really heavily chips my both of my Flood Finny and my Ogre Pawn, which his Finny being faster, I really, really did not expect. Because my Finny is already like quite fast. It's like Clover Cloak. It's the Terry spread, so it's like 184 speed, and which is like really fast. So I was very surprised when his was faster. And my Finny was faster than every cell. Like even if it was max speed timid Celesteal, I would have been faster. So I should have just clicked. I should have just killed the Sally with my Finny, and then killed the Finny with my Ogre Pawn because then I get Ogre Pawn at +1 at full, plus Finny into Salaman's Marshadow board, which is quite good because it means I can just follow me. If the Marshadow can either CC to kill, I don't know if CC kills at +1 from full, but it can either CC or Spectralty. And either way, it's not actually killing the Ogre Pawn, which means I'm redirecting the double edge from the Mence, right? Which means I'm not actually having to take a double edge from the Mence, which is quite good. Because the Finny should be able to live a double edge, especially if it wasn't chipped by the Dazzling Gleam from the from the opposing Finny. But yeah, so that is how I lost this game because now the Mars Shadow comes in and the Mence comes in, and I click follow me, and I believe it dies to Spectral Thief. It does die to Spectral Thief, and then I click Moonblast into the marsh, and that doesn't die to Moonblast. And yeah, so this is just over. And I did this last turn. I did click. I did double the Mence, which he turns out to be Hyper Voice, and he turns out to be Hyper Voice mixed Mence. So it's like kind of hard to say. Or it's like, so it's like it doesn't. I don't think it really even mattered. I guess it maybe could have if I had like played around him being Hyper Voice mixed, and like I had, because I guess Double Edge is telling me that he's mixed, but maybe if I sneak the Marshadow, Bolt can like 1v. I don't think Bolt even 1v1s the Mence because it's Double Edge, and I need to like crit him basically. But yeah, this is just kind of a fiasco of a game for me. I shouldn't have lost this at all. I don't think I just misplayed it quite badly. Yeah, I just misplayed it quite badly. I got a really good lead on the first couple turns. And then I just like squandered all my resources by like sacking my mega immediately on like a Sully that was like, it wasn't like obviously meteor beam, but it was pretty like there's a pretty good chance it was meteor beam. So it's just like it was like really preventable, and I just didn't prevent it from happening. But yeah, so lesson of the day, chat, is that you should not sack your mega for no reason. That is the reason why 2 games were lost this week, and they were both Charizards. So I guess the lesson is really just be careful with your Charizards. Okay, and then the last game this week, I played some test games against NDDOU running this, and I was quite fascinated because it was physical Sandforce Landorus T, and it O-code my Chen Pao with Terra Rock Rock Slide on turn 1 of the game that we played. Yeah, it was truly fascinating. It was genuinely, I've never seen, this is like, it's just such a cool team. I think he made it choice banned. He said he made a choice ban by the time the game was actually played. But I believe in our test games last night, it was choice scarf because it outsped my POW. But yeah, so into Sun, which is just like, wow. This is probably just like, yeah, I can't even lie. This is probably just the worst matchup all week. I mean, the Z matchup is the Z's matchup into this is almost worse. It's almost worse, but it's not because this is just like, this is just pretty bad. I mean, the only good thing for Bigfoot is that Hearthflame Brilla is like, it does make quite a lot of progress into this. Like Terra Hearthflame, if we can chip down the Ensign or whatever, makes quite a lot of progress into this. So, all right, let's see how this goes. We see Rilla Glamora lead into Fluttermane plus Landorus. Is it a booster flutter? It is a booster flutter. Okay. It's booster flutter. Makes a pretty heads up play. Just fake out. Just because that's pretty free. Instead of the taunt, I'm not sure. I don't remember if this Glim is carrying rocks actually. But he gets the poison off, which is quite good. Because now the instant and the flutter are both going to be taking hits, and those are like 2 of the mons that you really do want to like actually get chipped like really early in the game. Okay, we get the Sash on the Glamora broken. And the instant gets like super chipped. So this is looking quite good for the Hearthflame back. Okay, we get a P-shot outs. And then a U-turn, I assume? Yep. All right, that's a U-turn into Bigfoot's Fluttermane. Now this is Sash Fluttermane. So it's not, I don't know if it threatens any immediate damage, but now, I mean, but it does have Protect as well, which means that like it isn't immediately like, it doesn't, it can scout, what the Lander and Flutter want to do as well, and you can sack the Glamora to get like something else in as well. Okay. All right, we get Zardan, which is this is a pretty free Zard board. This is a good time to get Zardan. And the Landorus, I believe, locks into Stomping Tantrum. So now this is just I think this is actually somewhat compromised board state for Nito. But the problem for Bigfoot is obviously just that there's an entire Tyrant Tarmega in back that can just come in pretty freely. within like the next couple turns. I'm not entirely sure if I like getting an instant. I guess you don't want to like you. No, that's not true. You don't want to like let your non mega tar take like a Terrafrig Moonblast or whatever. Okay, I'm not sure I really like that protect from Bigfoot either. I think we should have just attacked immediately and just gone on the offensive. Especially since we're Sash Flutter and we don't want to necessarily like lose our Sash immediately. Okay, I believe we are Shadow Ball, so we can Shadow Ball their Flutter here pretty easily. Okay, or yeah, or take the Insend. That's also fine. I think I would have preferred taking the Flutter here probably, because how much was the Instant at? 34. I guess it might not be in range of Weather Ball. I don't remember if it's Weather Ball or it could be Weather Ball. It could also be Scorching Sun on the team. Either way, I don't necessarily know if I like super. If it's specially defensive, it probably lives. But yeah, so that's like yeah, because getting the minus one on the Flutter is like kind of unfortunate here, but it's like fine. Getting the minus two on the Zard is like kind of bad. Is I think the big thing. Okay, Lauren Terra Rock Bandit Rock Slide comes out here, and it's like, and it kills the Flutter. Yeah, and then we get a Spike Up, which is good for the Tar. I just don't. Yeah, it's good for the Tar. I'm not sure it's super like fake out there actually. I think I would have honestly maybe preferred like a Grassy Glide to like chip down the Lando. Because like this is a pretty projected Z fly from the Torn, right? So you're just gonna lose your Rilla here. Yeah, so we lose Rilla. We chip the Torn. We chip the Torn, which is good. But I think chipping the Torn was because we have Bolton back. I think chipping the Torn is much less important than chipping the Landorus. Okay. I even think like we didn't have Terra use. We could have gone Hearthflame here for sure. We didn't have Terra use, and since we're Grassy Glide Hearthflame, we could have just Terrafire Grassy Glided the Landorus. I'm almost sure that kills. It might not if it's like super bulky, which I think it is. So it's like possible. It's like probably a roll here. Let me check. I'm probably gonna cut to when it was on Hearthflame into Landorus. Let's say it's like max HP, which is about what it was. Grassy Glide, Terrafire, Grassy Glide into, let's say Terra Ground. It's about the same. Yeah, so that like almost certainly kills. Yeah, so I think I probably would have preferred that because like Terrafire Hearthflame is probably just how we want to play the rest of this game, right? Like it's able to break through the Selly, it's able to break through the Tyranitar. Like the Bolt is nice. I just think that it just doesn't really like make quite as much progress as you need it to. And like if you kill the Lando with Terrifier Grassy Glide, then you're also able to remove the Torn with the Glamora, which means that you don't really have that many Tailwind turns left. If you don't have that many Tailwind turns left, you can actually probably win the War of Attrition versus the Selly and the Tar, because with the Hearthflame, you're able to chip down, like basically not chip. You probably don't Oko it because Tar's really bulky, but you're probably able to like knock it into Life Orb Bolt range with Grassy Glide. And the Selly is obviously handled by the Zard. If we're able to preserve that into the Selly, or the Hearthflame into the Selly, then we're like just fine, right? And Terra's already been used, so the Selly can't even Terra out of its Zard weakness. But yeah, I think we should have just gone Hearthflame there, because if we go Hearthflame there and we remove the Landorus, then we're fine, right? Because like the Tornadus can't actually kill the Hearthflame now that Z has been used. And it can even remove the Glamora as well. So basically we get I think that would have justified this click. That would have justified like fake out chip the Torn, right? Because now that the Z is used, Hearthflame is free. And Hearthflame can kind of just clean up this game with Grassy Glide. But yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate. It was just unfortunate that I think he just missed the line. And then Sandstorm just means that like because of the rock type defense, the special defense boost, it's taking even less from it than it otherwise would. But yeah, we get the Zarden and we get the Taran. Yeah, and the Tar kind of just wins from this board. Like without without the ogre pawn, and it's just really hard for it's really hard for Bigfoot to come back from this. And yeah, we even sack the. I'm not sure I agree with that. I don't like that that ogre pawn there, because our ogre pawn is like one of the better ways for us to actually get back in the game here. Um, but yeah, I mean it's just over from this spot. I think with once the tar DDs, it's just like quite difficult. I don't know if he can actually get his way back into the game. Okay, yeah, we get the protect. Glide finishes off the Lando, and that's just a double knockout. And I think the double protect was not intentional, but it's I mean yeah, and Sar gets taken out by the Tyranitar. This is an interesting game. Bigfoot almost clawed it back there, especially at the end. But this is kind of a pretty chopped matchup for him. I think if he played a little bit smarter with the flood with the Hearth Flame, he definitely could have like gotten. He definitely could have taken care of the Landorus on this turn. Because the thing is, like the Hearth Flame is just a much more valuable Terra target into this, right? Because it's actually able to like offensively handle the Tar, and the Tar is like at this point. Now that the Rill is dead, the Tar is like the most important thing to get damage on. If we can kill the tar, we can kill anything, right? Or we can win, basically. I mean, obviously, if we kill the tar and make ourselves too weak to Sally, we still lose to Sally. But like, you know what I mean. It's just like the tar is probably the most interesting, or like the most threatening mon on this board state. But yeah, those are the games from this week. I thought they were pretty interesting games, all things considered. Oh yeah, and I thought they were pretty interesting games, all things considered. Frixel, Anders is obviously like, I mean, it's whatever, it's Frixel Anders. The Z game was kind of tragic just because it was basically just lost on turn one. I hope Null is able to spin it back next week and figure it out a little bit more on this tier so that this doesn't happen to him again. This game was kind of, I don't know, this game was kind of slop, I think. I didn't really feel like really good about this game. I should not have lost this game, is what it is. I shouldn't have. I got like really ahead on like the first two turns, and then I just like squandered it entirely and lost. I think I just like I don't know. I don't know what I did. I think I just like didn't. I don't know if I just think I really used enough timer, and I just like didn't really think about it enough, to be honest. Yeah, it's fine though. I'm not like super worried about it going next week. I really just want to do well. To be honest, I'm kind of feeling. I don't know. I played this pretty badly, but it's fine. I think I needed a week where I just like didn't do well, so that I know I can do the rest of them well. But yeah, and this Nido team I think is super cool. I really like this combination. I don't know if it's Meteor Beam or I don't remember if it's Meteor Beam or Lefty Stelly or whatever. But I think this is still quite a cool team. I really like the DD Tar, and I think that this Landorus set is specifically really cool. But yeah, that's the Netex review for this week. I've went it basically solo. Terekusai joined like halfway through and was like providing some light Discord comms, which is who I was talking to earlier in the video, if you all were confused by that. But yeah, so like, comment, subscribe to the Jeffkey YouTube channel, and I'll be back next week, hopefully with friends. But yeah, GG, that's the video.